Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us under the library. This is where we play our own brand of Call of Cthulhu in an original universe that was created by our very own keeper. If you enjoy what we do on this show and would like to support it, there are two ways you can do so. You can head over to patreon.com/underthelibrary and become a supporter of this show. We would very much appreciate your help. And if you would like to play your own game set in our universe, you can head over to DriveThruRPG and purchase The Snake's Oil. That is a Call of Cthulhu module written by that very same keeper, set in our Season 1 time period, featuring PCs and NPCs from that part of our show. And as I mentioned last week, if you would like more of this type of content, but not actually the roleplay part, but more of a meta-analysis of what we do here and something that may help you in your own game, both as a player and a GM, go to wherever you get your podcasts and look for Up Your RPG. It is a show that we created about 2 months ago. We just recorded episode 7. It launches every Wednesday. So check out Up Your RPG, again, wherever you get your podcasts. With that out of the way, let's get going. Once again, we have a full crew tonight. My name's Arthur. I'm playing Franny. I am joined by Wayne as Rutherford, Rick as Sam, Scott as Cully, Chris as Boone, Emily as Joe, and as always, our incredible keeper and the guy who wrote this whole thing that we're playing in, that's Michael. Michael, take it away.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Under the Library is a sandbox set in the Call of Cthulhu universe. And as such, we are mature. No, we're not. These are mature themes played by immature people. In fact, we're opening up a new Patreon level soon where Rick will send you his favorite yogurt flavor of the week. But with that in mind, it's our time for our content warning.
I thought that was our content warning.
Rick is our content warning. If you frequently wake up in your dreams and think, oh my God, I didn't wipe all my fingerprints off, then you're probably in the right place. And with that, I'll send you over to Emily with last week's recap.
Okay. So Boone had taken Sam outside and they talked about Bello. Boone actually blamed a lot of things on Bello in his absence, and invites Sam to Richard's house. They hop in the car, head out. At the same time, back at Richard's house, Rutherford is in the car that belonged to the agents. He finds a small wooden box. He realizes his eye no longer hurts, his injured eye, and he can see just fine. About the time he is loading the two agents' bodies into the trunk, Boone and Sam drive by, and Sam is horrified, demands an explanation, but doesn't get one. Boone tells Sam that Bello is upstairs, dead, and they head inside. Back at the doctor's house, Joe pockets the rod that was used in Franny's wound and then goes up to find Cully and sleep. They argue for a while about what to do, but they end up both falling asleep, sleeping through the night. Back at the house again, we skipped around a bit. Boone checked the garage for Molotov ingredients, and Rutherford led Sam through the house to Bello and then just leaves him there amidst all the carnage. So Sam heads out, back outside, and aims his gun at Bello and Rutherford. Boone and Rutherford, I'm so sorry. Boone and Rutherford, and says, what the hell is going on here? He is really disturbed, but they just are unfazed and keep planning. And when they see cars approaching, they order Sam to get the kids and Franny and bring them to 2500 Modern Street, Abiquiu. They leave. Sam leaves. He arrives at the doctor's office. Everyone's sleeping. And Ellen answers the door, invites him in. When he talks about the events of the day, she asks, are you okay? Is everything safe? Were you followed? She starts checking out the windows, looking very anxious. She has a bad feeling. Sam pulls his truck around the back to load people in. Franny is skeptical about going with the enormous armed man who shushed her, but Dr. Gardner vouches for Sam, and Franny agrees to go. Ellen is frantic, kicks everyone out, and so they're outside about to get in the truck, and that is when Joe realizes that they're headed straight to Abiquiu. This is a problem for her because she's afraid to go back without a disguise. She has to go to the store, to her apartment, her room, to get some things to disguise herself before she can go back to her hometown. So she runs away. It's followed. Cully catches up with her. Franny gets out of the truck and stumbles along with the wound in her abdomen about the point that Sam finally catches up to the kids. We ended our session.
Oh, right. That's my cue.
That's your cue.
And Michael, that's your cue.
To unmute. There we go. I've still got this funny buzzing in my headphones. I just want to make sure it's just on my end, right? Nobody else is hearing it?
Nobody
I am
else
not
is
hearing
hearing
anything.
what you're
Okay,
hearing.
cool.
All
All right, then
Do you smell
we'll
toast?
just roll with it. Ooh. Could be problematic. Okay. Anyway, let's get this show going. All right. Rick, did you finish your yogurt?
I did.
Please.
God, I forgot about the accent. I like repressed it. I repressed it in the last week. Okay, so I think we probably pick up right there, right, with Sam and Joe and Cully. Does that sound like a
Okay.
plan? And Franny bleeding out against the doctor's office?
And just
I mean,
as
not
a
bleeding
reminder, well, you said that because Sam told the kids she was bleeding out and had
Yeah.
10 minutes to live.
Yeah, old 10 minutes to live, Franny.
Mhm.
So I think it's probably realistic. I'm gonna say, Joe, let's go right now. Let's go back and check on Franny.
Yeah,
No,
Franny,
like-
how could she be dying? The doctor just worked on her. She
I don't-
just fixed her. She
We
put
gotta go. Let's go
the-
check on her.
the metal in her wound.
You got the medal if we need it, but we
Okay,
gotta check
yes,
on her.
let's
So
go.
Just start heading back towards her and run over and say, Franny, are you okay? What? I thought you were stabilized and you've got
Whoa,
10.
whoa. That's a good time dash, but you're still, remember, you're like, y'all run.
I
You're-
didn't think we were
Like a
that
couple
far. I
blocks
thought we
away,
were-
I was
Yeah.
picturing.
Yeah, a couple blocks at least. I don't think you'd be able to like just.
Do you want me to do one?
Well,
block?
I just want to know what Sam's gonna do.
Yeah, I'm right here. So
Yeah, can I
I'm
just-
looking.
Sam, do you know any medicine?
Joe, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I was back in the war and I do a little first aid and figured I'd help out. Took a look at Franny and she's leaking out of her abdomen.
Well,
She's
Let's
overexerted
go.
herself.
You can fix her, right?
I can help patch her up on her way back, but yeah.
Unless you guys are talking and running, I'm ahead of you. I'm running up to Franny.
We're at least talking and walking. I don't know.
We're talking, we're walking.
Okay,
Yeah,
there we
all
go.
right.
We're walking
Yeah.
fast.
We're walking.
And Joe, I know you have you got concerns about being disguised, and I just want you to know I got some old rags in the back. I don't know if that'll work, but if that'll help you dissuade, and so we can get on our way, that may
That'll
may
help.
suffice.
Do you have a hat?
Oh, I
You can
got
hide
plenty.
My hair.
I
just-
do.
I can't. Something horrible happened, and if I go back and people recognize me, they're gonna know, and they're gonna see me, and they're gonna. I can't look. Let's go.
Oh, okay then. So we'll head ourselves back to the car and find Franny, I presume, is still leaning up against the tree trunk.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and while they were talking, I would have run right up to Franny. So I don't know if we need to do anything else.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay. So Franny, Sam just came and he found us and he told us that things have gotten worse and you're not going to make it.
Oh, Oh, Cully, no, I'll be all right. I don't feel so great.
We stopped the blood. I held the blood, and she sewed you up, and
I know.
she put that metal thing in you.
It's okay, Cully. I think I've just torn a stitch and reopened the wound a little bit, and it's bleeding, and I got a little woozy, so I sat down. I'm sure I'll be fine.
If I help you and walk you, can we get you back to the car so you can sit someplace that's cleaner than a tree?
Well, I mean, I'm fine here for a little while. I'm in the shade. Is that Sam fella coming back with the vehicle?
I think Sam and Joe were walking back. They should be coming around the corner.
Well, what would they be doing with the car? Shouldn't they bring the vehicle over?
I think they'll have to go past us because Sam came to find us. That was nice of him to get us and tell us that you weren't doing any better. You were doing worse.
And Franny's very pale, right? And you can tell that her bandage is leaking. Right. She's again, right. Doesn't appear to be in any imminent danger of passing out or anything, but she certainly doesn't look well.
Okay. So I'll keep sort of talking to Franny, keeping her comfortable, and I'm scanning, looking to see when Sam and Joe head up.
Yeah. So I'll bring Joe to the truck, and we'd come on around and find you all up against the tree trunk, and I'd hop out and I'd take a quick look here at the saturated bandages, and I got a little kit in my truck, and I'll try to exchange and give her new bandages. That works.
Okay.
And I'll say, Franny, can we get you back into the bed of the truck?
Yeah. Sam, do you have first aid?
I do.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll just give it to you then. I don't think this is anything complicated.
No,
Cully, can you help me up?
Mm-hmm. So I'll go and I'll sort of
I'll get on the other side.
Yep, go under your arm,
Mhm.
trying to stay away from the side, and like sort of gently lift you and say, Joe, if you can get the other side, we'll do it together.
Yep.
All right, so lift you up and sort of gently get you lifted into the bed of the truck. And
she feels very heavy, and in terms of like not just just in terms of like lack of energy to really, she's able to like help push it, but like she has that weight of somebody who's kind of lacking in energy.
Yep. Okay, are there like clean cloths or something in the back that we can make something comfortable?
Yeah, I think Ellen made a whole mattress.
Perfect. Yeah. So
right, there was a whole like setup in the back of the truck.
We brought a mattress out. We set it up back there. And so what I'd suggest to the kids is we should have propped her legs up. It would help with some circulation return, and she may feel a little better. But we should not just have her feet sticking up off of the back of the truck. That may look poor. So I would at least cover it with some sort of burlap.
Okay, so we'll do that. Put some blankets or something under the feet to get them lifted, and then.
Okay, so while y'all are doing that, I think what we'll do is cut over, and unless anybody's feeling strongly about this moment with Franny. Anybody?
No.
Okay.
No. I just want to say that I would be very thankful to Joe and Cully for their help and for being so supportive.
Okay.
Just those two. Okay. Uh-huh.
Sam did politely change your bandage.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. I'd like to cut over
slowly warming up. Slowly
to Rutherford and Boone.
All right. So if I remember correctly, we were packing the car up. We hadn't started or left.
No, we had started. We were going down the road.
Oh, right. We were. And then were there cars behind us?
I checked, but I muffed the roll. So there's.
Mm-hmm. You were distracted by the wooden box.
I was distracted by the wooden box. So we think there's no one following us.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Or
Okay,
do you
no
think
one's
someone
following.
is following you?
And so I'll turn to, since we're not being followed, I'll turn to Boone, who was in the back seat. You went to the back seat.
Yeah, I went to the back seat. Yep.
Yeah. And then I said, Mr. Boone, take a look at this here wood box again and see if you can.
Yeah, I've got the wood box in my hand. I was just looking at it.
See if you can deduce a way to open the box. I'm very, very curious what is inside of that. It's incongruous that it's in this vehicle, something of that nature.
Well, I wasn't here when it was first acquired, and I have no recollection of it. So, is there a latch on it, or
I haven't been able to look at it yet.
my master keeper? Is there a latch on it?
Oh.
There's no visible latch. There is a seam around it, probably about an inch down, that makes it appear like it's a lid, but there's
no hinges or.
Nope.
Okay, I'll try to jam my fingernails into the seam there and just try to force it open.
The wood's really hard. It's been at some point shellacked pretty good, so that it even has kind of it's already a really hard wood, and then that shellac makes it even more difficult to penetrate.
I'll take my knife out and I'll saw it along the seam.
Okay.
So that if shellac is what's sticking it, I'll slice it along, see if it opens then. If it doesn't, then I'll use my knife as a lever and try to get some purchase and pop it open.
Okay. Make a luck roll.
Okie dokie. 76. That's probably not good enough.
Okay.
Let me look. Nope, that's not good enough.
Okay, so as you run your knife all along the edges of it, and nothing, you don't get any real purchase on it, and oddly don't even seem to make too much of an impression. When you do wedge it in there, you start trying to pry it loose, and you actually break off the tip of your knife.
Really?
Yeah.
There's Mr. Rutherford, there's something really strange about this box. Looking at the grain, well, it looks like it was cut out of a single piece of wood, piece of log or whatever, hewn from that. There is a seam on it, so at some point a top was created for it. But damn, this thing is so tight that I broke the tip off my knife. That was a good knife.
It sounds like there's a joke there, but I don't know. Mr. Boone, could you hand the box up to me, and I'm just going to take a cursory look at it while I'm driving. And
I don't know about that, Mr. Rutherford. I don't know enough about you as a driver to have you distracted.
Oh, I just wanted to take a quick peek.
Then pull over and you can take a peek.
I'm not sure we should do that.
Well, then you ain't getting the box.
All right.
It's a good call. Knowing our keeper, that's a good call.
I was going to say, you just saved him from a roll.
Yeah,
I'm in the car too. So
yeah. All right. So y'all continue on, and then pretty much we can time dash forward to the house if you'd like.
So the one thing to say is, assuming there's sort of room, and tell me if there's not, like not necessarily on the mattress, but maybe next to the mattress, wherever. I'm gonna, as soon as I know that Franny is sort of safe and Joe's settled, I'm gonna lie down on the truck bed and sort of put some blankets or something under me and just pass out. I've been trying to sleep, and every 10 minutes something seems to be waking poor Cully. So as soon as I can, I'm going straight to bed.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think Franny would probably sleep too.
Okay.
Can I just interject? I've been awake for over a day. Driving back from.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm going to curl up with the box and just sleep in the back seat.
And can I just add that I'm gonna Joe's gonna disguise herself as much as she can while driving. Do you want some specifics on that?
Are you gonna use Sam's suggestion and wrap yourself in rags and be a mummy? Because that's what I was picturing
one particular
when he
part
offered
of
that
me.
as a disguise.
I was going to wrap my chest
Okay.
and put my hair in a hat.
I got like a poncho in the back if you'd like to wear that, and we can cut some of your hair. Cut some of your hair, or put it up into a bun.
My hair's already short, but it's not. It's just. It's not this. It is like this.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to hide it in the hat, and that will be fine.
All right.
I'll just look like a little boy, I hope.
Yeah, and good.
All right. And so we're probably looking at roughly like a 5-hour ride to Abiquiu. In that time, Rutherford, could you just give me one little POW roll? Let's see how well this ride goes for you and Boone.
Ooh. Made it by 4.
All right. So the whole drive, you have this strange premonition as you're driving of seeing yourself. Obviously, you're watching the road and everything, but then you kind of have this third-party view of the car that is based. Give me an intelligence roll. You're a pretty smart cookie. Let's see how much you can amass from this little thing.
Oh, that is 1 point from a hard success. So I'm going to burn 1 point to do that.
Oh, please do burn that luck. Burn it all up. For those of you who've been with us the last few weeks and Rutherford's spontaneous healing, don't worry. All of Call of Cthulhu's spontaneous healing comes with its own burden. Is that a good word? Burden?
Spoilers.
Yeah. All right. So you're able to ascertain that every kind of perspective on the car, these flashes or premonitions of you, if you will, that you have over the next 5 hours, all seem to come from the elevation of the land. So you're not seeing the car from like a bird's eye view or...
Oh, I see. Like standing elevation.
Right. At least standing. It could be anywhere from a treetop to ground level, but you have these strange flashes of the car. You think it's probably because you're tired, honestly, but it is strange that you notice that they all seem to kind of come from this land level.
So like along. As the vision is the car like driving past.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
In the actual terrain that they're in. Like,
right. So it's like you could. So it's like occasionally you could see yourself driving the car from the perspective of a rock outside the window, or maybe
all
from
the
perspective.
animals.
Yeah, from the perspective of a cactus that's sitting out in there, and you can.
Got it. Exactly. Huh.
So Michael just gave it away. It's all the cacti and rocks are evil.
That's it. Yep. Beware.
Well, I'm going to say if it's a 5-hour drive, that's pretty long. And eventually with this curious thing going on and I guess cactuses and rocks around, there should be a more than an ample opportunity to pull off the road. Now, Rutherford already is thinking that he has, he's smart enough. He has a government car and a curiosity itself. So he knows it's something that could be identified. So if he pulls off the road, he's going to look for a location that actually is it particularly dark this evening or is it lighter out?
No, remember that you started this drive early in the day. So
this is daytime?
Yeah, this is middle of the day.
Oh,
you're anywhere
that's right,
from
ding dong, and everything happened the previous night. Of course. So we're driving in the day.
Bellows dead. Ding dong, bellows
so
dead.
if there's an obvious a billboard on the side of the road for Brill Cream or something like that, I'll pull behind that.
Okay, I'll give you that. Somewhere in this 4 to 5 hour drive, you're gonna stumble across a billboard. Tell me what the billboard says.
The billboard says is an
what was that shaving thing where there were every so
Burma
often?
Shave.
Burma
Burma
shave.
Shave. Yeah. So it would have to be a Burma Shave one. There's a bunch of small signs for Burma Shave. As you went along, you would see them. They would be one sign, another sign, and then you eventually get to a large billboard for Burma Shave and all of its wonders on getting a close shave in life. Oh, that's not good. and he'll pull behind the billboard and park there for a moment. Just to get his bearings on these the visions that are happening, and just to take a break and stretch some legs.
Okay. Boone's probably going to sleep through this. I mean, riding trains, right, Boone? This is going to be nothing to you to stop like this. So Uh, make a PAL roll.
Okay. Pow. That is also 1 point from a hard success. So I'm going to burn another one.
Wow.
Wow.
I want to get a hard success.
Burning luck like it's free.
Well, it was 1 point both times. So that's a whopping 2 points.
Okay, so then you get out of the car with this intention, and I think that's the angle I'll take it from, right? You have this intention to figure out these visions, and they're not
very Rutherfordy. Yeah, this whole thing it's a question to be solved.
And there's not a what was I going to say? There's not a kind of continuum of these visions as you've been driving. I just want to make that clear, right? It's kind of these flashes, but enough of them that you're able to piece this together. And so you're close. You're on the outskirts of Abiquiu when you make this stop. And as you get out, you have this instinct to kind of get down on all fours and put your hands on the ground. And as you do, it's this overwhelming range of sensations, right? You feel electricity in your hands.
Wow.
And you start shaking. And if Boone was watching you, if he were to have waken up a little bit and stared out the window, you would be visibly shaking and your eyes have rolled back in your head. You are conscious though as this is occurring, and it's as if you feel everything, right? You feel a scorpion attacking a rodent, and you feel the rodent dying, and your heart races as if it's being attacked by the scorpion. And you feel somebody you feel a bullet actually entering a deer. You're not sure where, somewhere in the landscape, and the deer having the same sort of moment of panic as the bullet enters it. It's fleeing, and a blur of visions as it kind of flees past you and then collapses on the ground, and your breathing starts echoing that of the deer's, right, as it's kind of dying breath. And then the last thing that you sense is you sense a person hiding out, and they're making their way across the ground. You feel their footsteps heavy as they're running, and they're fumbling with a set of keys, running into a door, and the vision starts to get blurry as they open the door, but you feel the cold air coming out of the room as they slam the door behind them. And then you're overwhelmed by kind of the dying of the poison of the rat and the breathing of the deer, and you yourself collapse on the ground. and you're taking a lot of breaths. You're sweating at this point, and right, the dirt and the sand is collecting all over your face, and your heart's just racing. Like imagine you've had like 12 cups of coffee, and you're just overwhelmed as your eyes kind of roll back forward, and you're staring at the highway and the heat starting to rise off of it, and you're just caught in whatever this moment was.
So in this super connected moment, it seems like it's like one of those moments where things settle in and you feel super connected to everything around you, but it seems like it's more lucid and happening than one of those Zen moments where that happens. Is it euphoric or is it frightening?
It's frightening.
Okay, because it's like almost too much information and too many things happening, and too much pain and emotion, like an overwhelming thing.
Yeah, enough. I would say it takes a sand roll.
Okay. Will do. And
is that my 99?
No, actually, we're pretty good with a. Sanity's just sanity. Yeah, that's a success.
Okay, so just take 1 point off then.
Yeah. Oh, I lost a ton that through that fight. That's right. Okay, yeah. So more going down. All right, and so Is there anything else wrapped into the visions that nature super connected and such like that, looking around? Okay, is there any dread or foreboding or sense of that within the visions of anything, and any information about friends or even feelings of that?
I think that would probably, what you got was just that overall foreboding. There was a lot of death in that particular vision, right?
Yeah.
And I think that would make sense. As your character, you would probably try to assess a couple of reasons for it. And it could be everything from your mood in the moment, right? This is kind of a tragic time. You're on the run. It's an elevated adrenaline moment already. You're exhausted. So it could just be that that's the energy you're channeling. It could be the visions attempting to give you a premonition of what's to come, or it could be some unknown source. It's nothing that your character's really able to suss out in the moment.
Okay. So Rutherford would lay on the ground and in the beginning heat of the day and to try to pull himself together, and hopefully we threw a bottle of water or something in the car. Actually, I was wondering if the agents had something in there of that nature in our lookings around in there.
Take a luck roll on that. I'll give that to you either way here.
Since it's a desert land and it's a 5.
Yeah, then sure, there's a whole kind of glass jug of water sloshing around in the back seat. It's capped, it's corked off, so you're okay.
Okay. And so he opens the back seat and not bothering Mr. Baboon, and has a good slosh of water, and since there's a good amount of it, pours a little bit over his
Boone
head.
thought it was the toilet.
It's an Arnold.
Thought it was a shampoo bottle.
All right.
So a moment of refreshment, and then Rutherford will settle back into this fine automobile.
Okay. So you have one of those swigs, right, where the kind of grit of the sand gets in your mouth, and you're kind of chewing the water. It makes that crunch, and you slosh it over your face and try and rinse some of the grit away. But it, inevitably, like, you've kind of sweatily laid in the desert sand, so it's just gonna creep into irritating places as it goes.
Okay, and then the last thing Rutherford would do, and just like what you would do at this time, he walks to the edge of the billboard and looks back down the road where they came from, just to see if anything's coming, because it's desert and it's kind of what you would do.
Sure, give it a spot hidden.
Ooh, that is a 91.
No.
Yeah. You don't see anything, right? The heat's kind of trickling up off the road, and you're just kind of caught in this moment, right? There's a lot going on for Rutherford.
So I don't notice the tractor trailer, the airplane, the helicopter, and the submarine.
Right. And the unmarked helicopter.
Unmarked helicopter.
All right. So Rutherford gets back into the car and starts up this fine engine. And hits the road, but Rutherford's kind of curious too. This is the mechanical side of him, because he's a machine guy, and he wants to see what this car can do. So he starts pressing the pedal to the metal on the way into town.
Okay, you're easily hitting 25-30 miles per hour, and the car just seems steady as a rock as you go.
25-30.
Wow, a whole 30 miles per hour?
Yeah.
Really cranking.
Even the Doodlebug, that's how fast the Doodlebug was going.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
He should be doing like back in the 40s.
Yeah.
Oh my God. My dad would get it up over 100,
easily.
110.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa. All right, then fine. You're gonna
make a drive roll.
Yeah, you're hitting 65, 70, 75, 80. Make your drive roll.
Why not? Let's hope.
What could possibly go wrong?
Thank God I'm asleep. I'll be
yeah.
like all
That's great.
Ragdolling around.
Thank God you've got that box to protect you.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh,
halluc-
and the giant
And the glass jug.
That's what you want to do is go hallucinating in the landscape and then flying
Or-
across the
Well, a 93 isn't that bad.
Oh!
No.
It's not
Not a 95.
It's not instant death, but it
It's not
ain't good.
96.
It is a failure.
Wow. All right. So you are just flying along on the highway. You hit the outskirts of Abiquiu, and it says, welcome to the village of Abiquiu. You're just, and you pass another billboard,
Yeah.
and as you do, you see the policeman pull out into your rear view, and as he does, simultaneously you have one of those kind of horrific visions from earlier
Mhm.
of the woman who was pregnant the woman giving birth.
yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, and the room looking out the window.
Yes. And all of a sudden it's this image of, you realize she's restrained,
Mhm.
and she's fighting these restraints as she's trying to give birth. So she's in like kind of leather cuffs that are chained to the sides of the medical bed, and she's screaming, and you can't tell if she's screaming in this vision. Meanwhile, right, the policeman's in your rear view.
Mhm.
You can't tell if she's screaming due to the restraints or the pain of giving birth. And immediately this very medical removal of the baby, the snipping, and there's all this concern. There's something wrong with the child, but you can't see it. The vision disappears, and you realize you're stopped on the side of the road, and somewhere in this vision you just pulled over. And the policeman is getting out of the car coming towards you.
I'm still sound asleep. Nothing wakes up Boone.
Okay. Let me send you.
Okay, while you're sending that, I'm going to cut back over to the other crew.
Yeah. So, is it possible, Keeper, for me to make a stop on the way out of town at the farm?
That's not for me to say.
Well, that's what I would do. I'd make a stop. I got to say goodbye to Cheryl and little Amos. And
Joe, this would strike you as odd. You would notice as you're leaving Los Alamos, you're taking a little bit more of a less direct route towards Abiquiu. But you might be too preoccupied too. So if you want to roll on that and let the dice decide, or if you want to make your character's decision, you could too.
I'd like to roll. What would I roll to see if I notice we're going the wrong way?
Probably I'd go with spot hidden here, because you might just be caught up in the moment of all the panic and fear of, you might be so concerned about putting on your outfit. I'd actually put it at a hard spot hidden. You might be so concerned about hiding your identity that you don't even notice.
Well, since I rolled a 93, it's probably not important.
Okay.
Two
Not
93s in a row.
important. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you're pulling up to Cheryl, and you're pulling up to the farm as kind of Cully and Franny are asleep in the back seat, or in the bed. Joe's readying her disguise, and you're pulling up to the farm.
And I'll turn to Joe and I'll say, Joe, do you need anything for your disguise? I'm stopping to get us some provisions and say goodbye to my family before we on our way out of town.
I guess.
You want some of my son Amos's clothes? That may help you.
Is he bigger than me? If they were baggy, that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, he takes after his paw, and I'm a bigger fella here, and we could get you some of his.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right. Well, you sit tight, and if Franny or Cully wake up, you just settle them down. I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Well, except little Amos is stoked, right? He's running up as he sees Dad pulling into the driveway, and he comes racing out to the truck just as like kids would do. And he jumps up, and he's knocking on your window as you're pulling in. Dad.
Yeah, yes, little Amos. Now you settle down there. Let me hop on out, and I'll hop out of the car, and I'll say, "Yep."
Oh, you've got some friends. You brought some friends. Should we?
Wait, side note, how little is little Amos? Because I thought he was like 6.
He's good.
You pick somewhere between 6 and 10. I think is appropriate. You pick there.
I was thinking around 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll hop out, and I'll shut the door, and I'll say, and I'll kind of give a nod to Joe.
Did you bring me some people to play with? I'm so excited.
No, these folks are in they're in need of a lift and a volunteer.
Can I go? I want to
go.
go. Can I go? I want to go.
I'm gonna stick my head out. Hi.
Oh, hi. What's your name? I'm Amos.
Oh, hi, Amos. I'm Joe.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Joe. Can you play?
Well, I can't right now. We're actually going on a trip.
I
And your
love
dad
trips.
said
We never
that
get
I
to
could
leave the
borrow
farm.
some of your clothes. Is that okay?
Do you want to take my clothes?
Well, I have to look different than what I look like now.
You're kind of bigger than me, though. I mean,
maybe that won't work.
You can borrow them, but they might be kind of tight.
Then that won't be what I need. Your dad told me they'd be baggy on me, and I thought that maybe I could just pretend to be a boy.
He gets confused sometimes. I think that's a little bit after the war, right? He gets things mixed up.
Well,
but
I want just little 8-year-old. Yeah.
I want to go on the trip, Dad.
Well, so I lean down, I kneel down, and I take Amos, my shoulder, and I say, son, now, this is a little journey.
You're gonna tell me no, aren't you?
Your pa's got to go on.
You're gonna tell me no again, aren't you?
Well, here's the secret, and I
It's
lean
the
in,
bike
and I
all
say,
over again.
and I said, Amos, if you are able to protect your ma and keep the farm in line, I'm gonna be bringing you back a bike.
Oh,
So bad.
bribery.
Do you promise this time?
Oh, I promise you.
But you promised last time.
Well, we ran into an issue with that horrible man who gave you a phone call and created such a comeuppance. And I had words with him, and he felt really bad.
You're gonna bring me back a blue bike?
Oh, it's gonna be the bluest bike you've ever seen.
You promise, Daddy?
Oh, I promise, son. Now you gotta make sure you mind the farm and the cattle. And if our visitors show up, you gotta bring just one of the steers out into the other pen. They won't bother you.
You promise?
I promise.
A blue bike.
A blue bike. You want a couple baseball cards to stick in the spokes?
Really?
Yes, I'd love to. Of course I would. I'll make it up to you.
You're the best. And he gives you a big hug, big old neck squeeze.
Oh, and watch the neck, because got
Okay.
the whole scar going on there.
Okay.
And,
he waves to you. He's hugging his dad and he's waving to you, Joe, and he says, I hope you come back. I'd really like to play with you sometime.
And Joe just has some tears in her eyes, and she says, it looks like your dad really loves you, Amos. You're a lucky kid.
yes, I do. I love this boy so much, and I'll give him a big old hug, and then I'll head on in, and I'll go talk to Cheryl, and I'll let her know that ran into some strangers here on my discussions with the doctor, and they're in a little bit of trouble and need a ride out of town but I won't tell her where. I said I don't want you to get in any trouble there.
Okay. And so as you walk into the house, Cheryl is in the midst of doing some canning. Okay.
Right.
And preserving some vegetables. So she's, it's already kind of hot outside, and this work is not cold work, right? It's boiling water.
Oh yeah.
And she's moving around quite a bit as she does this. And say green beans. I think that sounds like a good thing to can right now. We're going to can some green beans.
Sure.
So she's kind of hard at it, like washing them, getting them ready, boiling, and setting the jars. So what do you say to her as you walk in?
Well, I if I can, I'd like to just sneak up right behind her and give her a little hug from behind.
Okay. And she like
right when she's got 2 handfuls of boiling hot dilly beans.
Yeah. And she elbows you back and she says, what? And Sam, get off of me. I'm busy right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cheryl. I forgot you were just as far as little pistol here in the mornings. I just wanted to come on back and let you know, ran into a little bit of some company in town who found themselves.
Did you forget to pay those damn gambling debts again?
Whoa!
Whoa! But just okay. Here comes a new plot thread. Cheryl, we're gonna take care of all that because of the contracts up at the base, and we're gonna have more than enough to cover.
Because I told you to quit that.
Oh, there's no more dice rolling for me. Probably in more ways than one.
because Amos wants that bike, and if you lose his damn bike money again, there's going to be hell to pay.
I know. Don't you worry. I promised him the bluest bike with a couple of baseball cards. That's going to be priority number 1.
This is time number 3. If you don't come through with this time, there's going to be hell to pay with me.
I know. I will. I'll take care of it. I think I just doing some good deeds here, helping some folks out, and then there may be some money in it, and well, make sure we get ourselves straightened away.
Legitimate money, Sam. I don't want those bankers showing up at the farm again.
Boy, we're just really digging into the Wagoneer backstory here. Yeah, no, of course not. It's just gonna be everything's gonna be okay. You can trust old Sam. You can. I told you I'd be back when I shipped overseas, and I came back, and I've been faithful and true ever since. And this is just gonna be a little bit of a delay.
Then get with it.
All right. I'll go in for just a little kiss on the cheek.
And she ducks you.
Damn.
I didn't know there was marital discord. Oh my god. All right. Well, at that moment, you hear a couple barks, and I'm like, oh, here's little old Zed. Well, you gotta just make sure you take care of him. And
you hush your mouth and don't tell me how to run this house. You get in that truck and you go get taken care of what you need to get taken care of, and then you get your butt back here, Sam Wagoneer. You understand me?
Yes, ma'am. And I'll just go to my shed and grab my weapons, to be absolutely honest. And I've got them in a little bit of a locked box carrying case, and several of them for what it's worth, my knife, and sort of load myself out and head out to the truck. And
by provisions, I thought for a moment you meant food and drink.
Right.
And a little bit of food and drink on the way.
Considering your previous discussion, you were loaded to the teeth.
yes. And I'll say goodbye, and I'll give him a ring once I make it into a town.
Uh-huh.
And if they show, and
she's pulling out these kind of steaming bottles of green beans.
Yeah,
that are canned. Kind of like you, Sam.
I know.
It's just this nice metaphor. Okay, good. Just
I told Amos what to do if our visitors show up, and I think we should.
Do you think we don't know how to handle this place, Sam Wagoneer?
Fine. And I'll hop in that car and say, Joe, I think ready to get on the way.
Okay, let's go to Abiquiu.
Yeah, and then we'll head on out then.
And on that note, we'll take a break.
All right. That sounds good. Everybody take a few, and we'll see you on the other side. we are back from break. Michael, back to you.
All right, Rutherford, you're looking in your rearview mirror, and the policeman is ambling up towards you. Has a very wide brimmed hat, and
Rutherford gets two things ready. One of them you know about. The other one is the photograph of the man with the scarred face.
okay.
What's the one we know about?
Michael knows about.
Uh-oh.
Let me just tell you, it's gonna go great.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And he taps on your window.
Oh, it's down. Rutherford would have rolled it down, put his hand on the window, the bottom, the door, and leaned his head out as he comes forward and greeted him, and looks for a name badge.
As he walks up, he does pause and look in the back window at Boone, who I assume is still asleep. Are you still asleep, Boone?
Still asleep, but fancily dressed, remember?
Oh, that's right. All right. So this fancily dressed man hugging a wooden box, and I believe you have a bag somewhere on the floor, right? Is that in the front seat or the back seat, Rutherford?
It would have been in the back seat on the floor.
Okay. Yep. Okay. And the police officer sticks his head down, and the badge says Mulvaney.
And he says, okay. And I said, Officer Mulvaney.
Excuse me.
And I said, no.
Excuse me.
There's no time, sir.
Excuse me.
And I reach for the photograph, and
he reaches for his gun.
And I said, that's not necessary, my friend. And I hand him the photograph. And I said, that's our agent who's been missing. We need to find him. This is obviously from Los Alamos, and you probably recognize the cars. There's several more most likely coming. This is an agent we need to find immediately. We think there's some terrible things. There was obviously, and I point to myself because I'm a little bit of a wreck. There was an altercation in Los Alamos, and we need to find our agent. We have one in the back. He's unconscious and sleeping at the moment.
Oh, you're one of the G boys, huh?
I said, and my friend in the back, and we have quite a few others coming to town. So please be prepared as they come in. There'll be several of them, most likely, trying to figure this out. We're on the tail of the people who started the fire at the facility.
I know you're in a hurry. What did you say your name? Can you tell me your name?
I said, that's not protocol. Agents don't give the names. The G.
Sure. I'm sorry. I've had an application in for a few months, and I'd really.
You do know the man with the, and I go, do you do the? Actually, I could do a persuade too because I got a good persuade. But anyway, I said, Mulvaney, you do know that the man with the scarred face is one of the superiors, and if we can find him, you surely will become an agent.
Let me know what I can do. How can I help?
I said, the cars that are coming into town, tell them that they need to go back to Los Alamos to scour that portion again, since we have this portion covered. Make sure you stop any agent cars you see coming in and turn them back to Los Alamos. We have too many agents coming this way to Abiquiu, and we have it covered, my agent and I.
I'll take care of it for you, sir, and you'll keep an eye out. It's Jim. My first name's Jim. Well, you'll keep an eye out for my application, right?
Certainly, Jim. Write down your information for me. And I look for a piece of paper or such like that. And I said, I'll trade you for the photograph. And I said, if you have a pen, you certainly have a pen, or write it on the back of one of your tickets, and just write down your information where I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, he has a pad, and he goes, I don't want to put it on this official document. And he takes your piece of paper and he puts down his name and his address, and he hands it back to you.
Okay. And I said, I appreciate that, Jim. And have you seen any curious happenings here in Abiquiu, specifically over towards the part of town that's Modern Street?
Nothing to be aware of. You want me to do a couple of drive-throughs later this afternoon?
No, these would be curiosities such as dogs running through town, strange lights, and odd personages being present in town that haven't been here before.
We're a pretty quiet, sleepy town. We had those murders, a little while back, but things have settled down since then.
I appreciate it. If your number is on there, I may have to give you a call.
You please do. I'm happy to help out, Mr. Agent, sir, and I hope to be working with you one day soon.
Absolutely. So the agents, once again, we don't know, all the agents don't necessarily know each other. So just let the fellows know in town that we're the ones looking for the fellow with the scarred face, because we work directly with him.
I will do, sir.
And I said, I'll try not to speed too much through town. It was a bit of an emergency. We have a lead on where these miscreants may be.
I'll keep an eye out. You call me if you need anything.
I appreciate it, my friend. And I was going to say, I'll actually reach out and shake his hand.
Okay, he shakes it back. He gives you a firm handshake and a little wink, and then he kind of turns with a little lightness in his step, right? And he starts kind of strutting back to his car. You're just a few minutes away from Modern Street. You probably, in fact, what he would have probably done is given you more directions. He would have said, hey, if you didn't give him the actual number, he would have told you how to get on the street.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to give him the number.
No. So from there, you know exactly which way to go.
Okay. And then we drive off doing 35.
Okay.
And I call back to Mr. Boone. I said, Mr. Boone, you need to wake up. We're back in town. Nothing happened. It was a quiet ride.
Oh, that was quick. Well, I feel mighty refreshed.
And certainly, we're not historically accurate on Abiquiu here because it would be quite small. We're going to make it a little kind of more towned up than it would be, but it is a quiet community, right? You're going through kind of some sleepy streets of homes. There's a moderately sized downtown. I shouldn't even say moderately. It's a small sized downtown with a grocery store and a gas station and a little diner. And if there's anything, a hardware store, probably. If there's anything you want to add into that, totally good with that. Is there anything you want to add?
Not at this point. I was going to say,
Joe, it's your hometown. Is there anything that we should add into this hometown that any neighborhoods off the downtown or anything like that?
I mean, there are a few houses that are significant to me.
Okay, right, which we can deal with when you get there, but
Yeah.
the one that they're headed to isn't going to be near your neighborhood. So, I mean, it's all kind of near, but it's not going to be like next door or anything.
Is it near Hans's house or Georgia O'Keeffe's house?
So, O'Keeffe's house is going to be quite quaint. Hans's is going to be slightly outside of town. You can pick a direction there because his is more of an estate, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Hans is more eclectic with his. Rutherford, so are you going straight to the address?
At this point, Rutherford will take a circuitous way through town, make a few extra turns, and even turn around and come back before he goes to 2500 Modern Street.
Okay.
Yep.
Just in case the officer is quietly following behind him.
Okay. It doesn't appear so. You could make a spot hidden if you want to double check on that, but I mean, he was pretty visually bought in.
I rolled a 1 on my spot hidden.
There we go. Finally.
Nice. Yeah, there's nobody at this point following you, and the officer really bought into what you were saying. But you are keenly aware, Boone, of the fact that this is kind of a high visibility car, right? Like if other government agents roll by this car, they're gonna know who it belongs to. This does not look like your typical consumer lot car.
So
Yeah. Now that we're here, we should be thinking about ditching this car, maybe.
the most important thing is first go by a slow drive by 2500 Modern Street, see if there's a garage.
Okay, so as you pull by the house, make a luck roll on the garage. I'm good with it either way. Actually, you know what? There would be a garage. There would be a garage. I'll give it to you on that.
Okay. So
these are all smaller homes. It is a neighborhood. There's probably 30 to 40 feet between each home. So they're not packed in, certainly, but they are fairly close together.
Mhm.
And nothing kind of ostentatious as you drive through the neighborhood. Most single levels. There might be the odd with a second level. Everything's well kept, well maintained. The houses are all in really good condition, and it just seems to be kind of that would describe it.
Okay. The activity on the street and with neighbors and such like that. Rutherford wants to be careful pulling the car in. If there's an awful lot of people around, it's not the time to put it in the garage. So
Now, do we know? I don't remember. Do we know who lives here?
This is perhaps Richard's other abode that we found a secret notation hidden.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And so we need to do some investigation here. I believe this is where we will find some secrets to our mysteries and what Richard was really up to, which is very important. He's a friend of mine, but he has this whole other side of him that he seems to have hidden, and I think there's some answers here. Cully would be very interested in this place as well. He's the one who keeps finding things, and he's going to be very important here. So
if you drive down the driveway, I'll get out and open up the garage.
So does it look particularly busy or eyes and such like that, or is it early enough where people are still a little drowsy and such like that?
Yeah, so let's say you got off around 7 or 8 in the morning, and so that's going to put you in town around 1 or 2 o'clock. It's hot. It's not an area where people like mow the grass or anything, right? These aren't manicured lawns. You're in you're in New Mexico, and there's people kind of milling about a little bit, but it's a pretty hot part of the day, so there's nobody kind of hanging outside.
Can I do a luck roll to see if we avoid prying eyes?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
6.
Whoa!
Wow.
Like butter.
I guess it's really hot.
Yeah, you moved in a pretty hot part of the day, and everybody's kind of keeping the shades cool, even the rumble of the engine.
Okay, so I'll get out, open the garage door.
Yep, and Rutherford cuts the engine and lets the car roll into the garage if it's pointing. I just had a vision of it going down that way, unless it's a different way, just to be a little bit more quiet.
Okay.
So if the garage was unlocked, that's the one question.
Yeah, the garage, right. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
I missed that. Yes, as you roll up, the garage is indeed unlocked.
Okay. Does it have a way to lock it? Was it, did it seem like there was someone here, or is it just maybe Richard just forgot to lock it in a rush?
Right. There's no real lock on it, right? You just kind of walk up, open it. You do notice that the garage is pretty empty. There's almost nothing in it, right? It just looks quite literally like a place to park a car and close the door behind you.
Is there an access into the house from within the garage?
No, it's separate from the house, so you'll have to kind of exit the garage, and then it's set back from the house a little bit. Not far, 20 or 30 feet. So you'll have to leave there to walk towards the house.
Okay. Rutherford turns to Mr. Boone, and I said, let's take everything we need. This car may have to be ditched here. There are 2 bodies in the trunk. later tonight we'll have to take the car out and get rid of those at some local area. I knew that.
I was thinking about those bodies when the cop was coming up.
Oh, yeah. God, I had forgotten all about him.
Yep. The man with the scarred face, he's right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, make sure we have the guns, the bag with all the stuff.
The wood box, the photograph, anything else that was in the car that we might need.
The glass jug in case you have to make an enormous Molotov cocktail.
And any identification things or such like that. And
remember, they had no identification in the car.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's why Rutherford said we don't use names. Kind of was guessing that they stay anonymous. What are the license plates?
They're typical New Mexico plates. In fact, they don't say anything about the government on them.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay. Then those plates will stay. Unless, like every garage, it's full of license plates from all around the country that people have kept from their previous places. And if that's the case, he's going to switch the license plates with what's on the wall, if there's some there.
No, it is very empty.
All right. Oh, well. We could have been from somewhere else. At this point, then.
Well, I tell you what. There is a scenario in which that works. Take a luck roll on it. I could see that being a thing.
Well, an 82 is awful high.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Doesn't quite do it.
All right.
So Rutherford then mentions the Boone. So let's take everything and head towards the back door and see if we can jimmy it open. I actually think I took, yes. I have a lock. I took locksmith ability and gave myself a 50 in that just in case.
So there's no true back door. There's about 3 concrete steps that go up to a platform on the side of the house that faces the driveway. So there's a side door and then there's a front door to the house as well.
In a small town like this might not even lock their doors.
Curiously.
A little bit of hobo wisdom there.
But I think with Richard and his secrets, I think he would be locking his house. He did that with his house in Los Alamos. So we'll go to the door and check to see if it's locked, or if more scary, if it seems like someone's been in there.
So tell me what you're doing.
Right. I guess Rutherford will take the lead. Going up towards the door, we're holding whatever we needed to carry this bag and stuff. Rutherford has one of the more fancy guns from the agents at the ready in his pocket, and he goes up to the door and tries the knob on the door, and then gives a little tap on the window.
The knob turns easily.
Opens it just a little bit and listens.
So the door opens into the house, so you would be pushing.
Yep.
Make a listen roll.
But when I see him get a gun out, I'll get one out as well.
Okay.
Ooh, that would be actually a really good listen. That would be a hard success.
Okay. And you hear a woman's voice inside go, Richard, is that you, Richard?
As soon as I hear that, I put the gun away.
Okay.
And Rutherford, I said, no, no, ma'am. This is a friend of Richard. It's Rutherford Fenger. We've come to this. I said we've come to town to look. We had to come to town from Los Alamos. Are you a friend of Richard? I yelled out. And
you hear a crash, right? Like the sound of a plate shattering.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts to stutter. Rutherford?
And I said, Oh, sounds like it might be someone I know. Rutherford opens the door and goes in, and goes to.
And standing about 10, you're in the kitchen. This door opens into the kitchen. There's like the stove would be an oven to the right and countertop. On the other side would be kind of the ice box and another set of counters. And standing kind of in the middle of this path directly into the kitchen is a woman in a like fairly plain dress. It does have a light floral pattern on it. She's quite, I don't want, the frail's not the right word, but very thin. Mm-hmm. And in front of her on the floor is a shattered plate and mug and like some sort of dark liquidy substance like tea or coffee all over the floor. And she's just standing there shaking as she looks at you. You don't recognize her.
Oh, okay. That's important. I said, ma'am, I don't know if Richard, if you're obviously a friend of Richard, if he's mentioned me before. I'm Rutherford Fenger, a long time friend of Richard.
Just stop.
And obviously I look a mess because my shirt's torn with blood all over it.
and she pauses. She takes a deep breath. You can tell there's already tears running down her face. And she just says to you, is that his blood?
I said, no, this blood is mine. Well, actually, maybe some of it.
And she has like kind of no patience for Rutherford's rambling, right? She cuts you off every time you start to like go off about something. And she says, how did he die?
I said, oh, well, Richard, perhaps, well, actually, you know what?
Shut up. Just,
I was going to say, Rutherford's not really built for emotion, so he would just lay it out there. I said, unfortunately, Richard came to an end in a pretty horrific fashion, but by no other hands though. Some malady struck him.
But Boone, as you're kind of overlooking, she's got her eyes closed and she's kind of pressing her thumb into her fist. She's rubbing her forehead, and you can tell she's just kind of fighting back all of her emotion. And a little girl runs from kind of the back corner of the kitchen and wraps around her leg. The little girl's, probably a similar age to Amos. And she's holding onto the mom's leg, or she's holding onto the woman's leg. And she says, "Mommy, are you okay?" And there's this real kind of authentic moment of the woman grappling with her own emotions and this child there. And she just holds out a hand with the finger up to tell you she needs a minute. And she escorts the girl kind of back into the house. And you can hear some conversation, like mommy needs a minute. And she's trying to comfort the child, but also take care of herself. And then she comes back and she says, maybe we should go sit down. And she holds her hand towards the table, kind of right off the kitchen in the back of the house.
And Rutherford would turn and absolutely go towards the table, probably in a Sheldon-like fashion, just very matter-of-factly, and sit down. And he says, yes, ma'am. And is he starting to suss out maybe that this is could be a family that Richard had and he didn't let people know about?
There's certainly a question on your mind. Right. This for you, this thing is like unwinding quickly. You're trying to figure out.
Rutherford does a quick scan of the room looking for photographs, because quite often a family photograph might be around, and he just takes a perusal to see if there's a photograph handy, or a small one, big one, or anything that might have her and him in it.
So Richard is oddly absent from any images in the room, but there's there's a few images of the woman and the daughter or the girl at various ages. And there's one by the ocean, and they were obviously taken. I'll give this to you with your intelligence. I think it would just make sense, right? But your kind of deduction here that as you kind of look at all of these images around the room, you're realizing that probably Richard took these images.
Ah, yes.
But he's not in any of them.
The frame of reference, yes.
Boone, as you're walking into the room, she cuttingly glances at you and says, "I don't know you. Who are you?"
Sorry, ma'am. I'm just a traveling companion of Mr. Rutherford. I wasn't there when Mr. Richard passed away, but I had some interactions with him, and he was very nice to me. He was a good man.
And she starts kind of shaking out a cigarette and pulls it out, and she's shaking, but she manages to light it, and she starts smoking at the table as she looks at you, and she goes, and then she looks at Rutherford, and she says to you, "Rutherford, I know that I can trust you, but I don't know that I can trust him."
Right, that Mr. Boone has been a trustworthy.
No, that's okay. I'll just step outside, ma'am. We've got some more. Rutherford will tell you we got some.
But she immediately says, "You can't do that." He always you have to stay inside.
Okay, well, I'll just be a fly on the wall then. I won't bother you.
And she looks at Rutherford and says, "I need to know what happened."
I could tell you exactly. And Mr. Boone here is a very trustworthy fellow. Unfortunately, there was a situation where Richard, and I think you would have suspicions of this and maybe know an awful lot more, because I probably need answers.
I need you to stop rambling. What happened?
Richard, unfortunately, was abducted by what we have found out to be agents, and I believe terrible agents of the government. He disappeared for a time, and upon his return, he absolutely denied anything that had happened and that he wasn't abducted. But I saw it with my own eyes, him being abducted in a very rough manner, and we even know the person who was part of this abduction. And I produced the photograph. I said, do you know this man? And I show her the photograph of the man with the scarred face.
And she looks down at it, and she just shakes her head. And she's working with tremendous restraint not to start crying here. And she goes, I only know you because he talked about you. And he said you were safe. And he said Franny was safe. And those are the only two he said would come if something happened.
Franny should be on her way if everything is coming together. I believe, yes, she was hurt by these agents. We need to take tender care of Franny. I hope the people who are helping us can get her here. This is a safe place. These agents are of the government, as you know, are not kind, friendly, and are quite dangerous. I believe you are in terrible danger right now.
And she takes her cigarette, she sets it it's a round kind of formica top with the metal stripping around the edge. and she sets her cigarette on the end of that table, and she stands up and she goes into the kitchen and she says, anybody else need a drink?
And Rutherford's like, absolutely. I will have what Richard would always have. A gin and tonic at this moment would be very kind of you to share.
Okay, and she opens a cabinet, and you catch a glimpse in the top of the cabinet. There's rows of tonic bottles. Okay, and she pulls one down and opens it, and a full bottle of his favorite gin. What would his favorite gin be?
Oh, it would be something obscure from Europe, where he's from.
Okay, and so she pulls down this European gin that like immediately resonates with you, Rutherford, and she looks at you, Boone, and she says, "A shot for you, honey."
No, ma'am. I'm fine.
And it gives her a moment of pause. She looks at you from the side of her eye, the stranger who she doesn't know, who Richard never mentioned, and this moment of kind of communal drink in his honor that you're not taking. And
no one told me it was in his honor.
And
yeah, ma'am, I don't drink. I used to drink a lot. Don't drink anymore.
And so,
but I'll take some water.
So she makes a drink for you, Rutherford, and a drink for herself, and gets some water out of the tap for you, Boone. And she brings them back and sets them all on the table. And she cheers as you, Rutherford. And
actually, Rutherford holds the drink and holds it up, and he says, "Ma'am, I'd like to have a few words before we have our drink about my dear friend Richard, and I believe your connection to him is far more important and intimate. And I feel you have terrible pain, so I will just say that Richard was a wonderful, amazing person on this earth, has discovered many things, and his intellect was grand indeed, and he knows and knew so much, and there have been only wondrous times with him and working with him over the years." And I hold up the glass and bid cheers to him, and I hope that we can see him again someday down the road.
And she clinks your glass and takes a big drink with you.
I'm back against the wall again. I'll just raise my glass.
Okay. And you're standing next, kind of underneath your arm. In the background is the bottle of Martinazzi dry gin. Rutherford, I need you to make 2 con rolls and tell me which one the worst is.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Nice. Oh, terrible. The 89 is the worst.
Okay. All right. And we will end with the drink in Richard's honor and the failed Constitution roll by Rutherford.
I'm kind of glad he failed it. Nice.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
She actually really didn't like Richard very much.
Wow. All right. Well, that took a turn I was not expecting. That's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks for joining us. You can find us online between now and the next show at underthelibrary.com, on Instagram, Under the Library, Twitter, Under the LIB. If you are watching us on YouTube and would like to listen, you can get us wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're listening on podcasts and happen to want to see us, you can do so on YouTube. So for me, for Emily, for Scott, Chris, Rick, Wayne, and Michael, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.